Welcome to Connecting the Dots, a laser-focused, quick-fire interview on food and the economy with international experts where we seek answers to questions all of us should be asking. I'm Ajay Jakar, Chairman, Bharat Krishik Samaj of Farmers Forum India, as well as the Vice Chair of Action Track 2, Shift to Sustainable Consumption Patterns at the UN Food Systems Summit. I'm absolutely delighted today to introduce the Youth Vice Chair of the UN Food Systems Summit in Action Track 5, Building Resilience to Vulnerabilities, Shock and Stress. Mike, you are the first youth leader who's come on our show. Thank you so much. You are a nutrition professional with years of experience working with civil society, private sector, and government to address high levels of stunting in Malawi. Thank you, Mike, for joining us today.
So much, AJ. It's my pleasure for me to be here.
So the first question is, you are involved with the Food Systems Summit as the Vice Chair of Action Track 5, and you are a food systems champion. How has your experience been so far, and where do you see the role of the youth in this important summit?
Thanks so much. So indeed, I'm the Vice Chair for 85, Action Track 5 of the Food Systems Summit. And to be realistic, it was a great experience working with Action Track 5 on understanding on how resilience can play a role in transforming our food systems. So my experience has been wonderful. I've been able to connect with a lot of stakeholders working on resilience and other key players working on food systems. But at the same time, I've been also key to connect young people over the world in terms of understanding what they are doing and what they are championing to build food systems, to transform food systems, as well as promoting indigenous knowledge and ensuring that food should be a common good and not seen as a commodity. At the same time, as the UN Food Systems Summit Youth Champion, I've been engaged in a number of dialogues that we were working on food system transformation in my country, at the same time globally. So it has been a good experience in terms of networking and sharing knowledge in terms of food system transformation.
That's good. You are also the Scaling Up Nutrition Sun Global Youth Leader for Nutrition in Malawi and spend a lot of time engaging and working with the youth, especially in the agriculture and nutrition field. What are the aspirations of the youth and the major barriers that the African youth face in exercising the agency and driving a systems change in their communities?
Well, perfect. I see like the main barriers for youth getting involved in agriculture or food system transformation centers around knowledge, policy, finance, and capacity. Let me just expand these few things. In terms of policy, most of the policies are top-down approach, and the youth are not engaged in the implementation and even in the formulation of policies. But at the same time, if we can have policies that will empower young people to be the lead in terms of food system transformation or the lead in terms of agriculture, then young people will be having the capacity and the power or the energy to do that. And in terms of finance, I have interacted with a number of youth in Africa, and most of the times when we ask or when we share knowledge in terms of how we are going to expand our businesses or our agri-entrepreneurs, the issue that comes along is the finance of how probably we should be able to expand our business. So perhaps on this, I can really stress much if the focus can be on inviting the private sectors and even government to offer small loans or loans to small and medium enterprises. And the issue of knowledge, we know knowledge is key. And right now, in terms of agriculture and food security, we need to focus on technology in terms of the way we produce. And we cannot use this technology if we don't have knowledge. So that has to start first. We need to educate young people within their schools in terms of how they can use technology. Then from there, they should be able to pick up the advancement in technology for production, processing, and along the agricultural value chain.
Okay. You are also part of the civil society organization Nutrition Alliance. Can you tell us something about your project with them to enabling youth for participation, and what has been the impact of this project so far?
Well, as the youth champion for nutrition in my country, and currently have been selected to represent youth on the Scaling Up Nutrition CSM steering group. So I did a project with funding from Innovation Research Fund, which particularly focused on young people and giving them the necessary skills and energy to lead nutrition interventions or nutrition activities within their community. So the emphasis of the project was to ensure that we train young people in their communities to understand nutrition, to understand issues of food security, and also to link them with key committees that fosters nutrition or food security within their community. So we have seen a great success in terms of this project because initially young people were not part of the committees or platforms that were championing nutrition and food security. And we managed to bridge the two. The youth who were in the youth clubs or in their own platforms, some of them were able to represent their fellow youth in the nutrition committees and food security committees. So that was a great achievement because whatever was discussed in the nutrition committees or food security committees, young people were able to take the same knowledge and give back to their fellow young people within their youth clubs. At the same time, they were quite involved in terms of the knowledge which was around nutrition and food security. And more especially, we also capacitated the young people to lead some of the nutrition activities, for instance, the cooking demonstrations and the backyard gardening within the community. So really young people demonstrated a key aspect in terms of nutrition and food security. And the community themselves, we are really pleased to see the change of knowledge among the young people, whom at first they never thought that they would do something like this. So this has been a very huge success for the campaign and the project which I was doing.
Mike,
Sure.
Mike, that's very encouraging of what you have managed to achieve, getting the voice of the youth and into the dialogues on the table. That's very good. What we also see, Mike, and I hear is that many poor households in rural areas in the global south, including all of Africa, rely on markets for nutrition. However, supply chains are vulnerable to disruptions such as pandemic, domestic conflict, climate disasters, and price hikes. What kind of solutions are being considered in Action Track 5 to address this increasingly urgent issue?
So in Action Track 5, since our focus is on resilience food systems, and we know that we need to foster food systems even in during the time of conflict like and even pandemics like COVID-19. So a number of solutions have been put forward. For instance, these are within action area number one, which is universal food access. And on this particular focus is to ensure that we enact food as a public good. Food should not be seen as a commodity. We should treat food the way we treat medicine. And on the similar note, we need to focus on how we can make some of the policies universal. For instance, the school feeding program, if these programs can be made universal across the world, then young people or even children within their schools, they should be able to access food. At the same time, talking of the minimum wage, if some of these can be, this policy can be universal, then people will be able to buy food. And the last but probably not least, these food system supply chains, which is also another solution cluster under Action 25. And this we are focusing on local production for local consumption. This will shorten the food supply chain because we empower people within their communities to demand and produce food which can be produced within their community and actually also be consumed within the community. So this kind of supply chain will also be foster resilience, especially during COVID-19, where we experienced a lot of lockdowns and restrictions, where marketing systems on its own, they prove that they cannot guarantee food accessibility. So these are some of the solutions that have been put forward under Action Track 5, universal food access, as well as local production and local consumptions.
Have you, Mike, noticed in Africa that there is a consolidation in the food value chain, where a few players control the agriculture inputs, they control the farmers produce aggregation, and also the retail segment? Are you seeing this happening in Africa? Because it's visible in many other continents, like in America, like in Europe, it's visible. Do you see this happening in Africa?
Of course, AJ, I have, through the dialogues that I've been able to participate in Malawi and also facilitated, one of the key issues that come clear that some farmers do not have access to market because of huge corporations or huge farmers who kind of monopolize the market. So this is a trend that we maybe is also even paramount in Malawi. At the same time, because of poor marketing systems, you see that farmers may fail to access inputs in other marketing, and say while other market may be have abundance in terms of inputs. So this kind of imbalance is even common in Malawi.
So this is interesting. So it seems to be a global phenomenon. I'll come to the last question. Jay Naidu, who's a social activist, who's a mentor to many youth leaders and to many national leaders, who was in the cabinet of Nelson Mandela, says that we need leaders today, not tomorrow. Are you seeing a revival of activism for civil liberties, equity, equality in the African continent? Are you seeing youth rise, demanding their rights and a better future for themselves?
Absolutely, AJ. I see a very huge capacity for African youth rising up and demanding quality food, quality products, at the same time being involved in decision-making processes. For instance, on top of the free African trade area that has been put forward recently. So this is an opportunity for young people, especially small and medium enterprise, in order to produce food and also and easily find market. For instance, let me give you this example. There's a lot of food vegetables that are produced in Kenya, but you talk of a similar country, which is a neighboring country like Uganda, probably few people consume vegetables. So this trade area will help small and medium enterprise from Kenya to sell their produce in Uganda. So I'm seeing that opportunity for young people in Africa to rise up and will play a very huge role in order to ensure that our voices are heard and also are key players in terms of food system transformation within our government and within our continent.
Mike, thank you so much for your good words. They're very deep words. And for your age, you have a long way to go. You have a great future. And I'm sure the other youth look to you for leadership. And congratulations on your good work. We follow you in Action Track 5. Thank you so much on behalf of the Food System Summit and the farmers across the world for your good work. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, AJ, for hosting me. It's my pleasure to speak these words. Thanks so much.